Here we go now, baby. Welcome to the Covers NBA show for Tuesday, March 17th. Happy St. Patrick's Day to all who celebrate. Joe Osborne and John Metler coming at you with 5 total best bets in the NBA here tonight. But before we get into those, John, let's recap what we did yesterday. The show goes 3-3 overall, 1-1. For my picks, not even close on the Memphis Grizzlies. They stayed within an arm's reach in the first half, but got completely blown out in the second half. Great finish by the Lakers, ends up covering that one for me. The Rockets only scored 12 points in the fourth quarter. Absolutely pathetic. John does the heavy lifting for us, goes 2-1 for us, and he covers 5-star. Sweaty loss on that one. Unfortunately, Trey Jones goes over his point total by 1.5 points. So 2-1 for you, John. Any big takeaways from your result there last night?
The Hawks was easy. They blew out the Magic. That was pretty much a blow the whole way through the game there. The Suns were making me real nervous because they had like a 3-point lead. 3-point lead with about 3 minutes left, and then they just went ice cold and they couldn't score. And you're kind of like, when you're starting to watch like the missed shots pile up and the free throws, and you're like, I just need one more bucket from the Suns, and I think I'm good. I get the cover easily, but you're kind of watching it get close. And you're like, man, I have 9.5. This would be a brutal loss. The Spurs had big leads, but they didn't end up holding it out. I think in the third quarter, they're up by like 24 points. I remember it was like 87-63, and then the Clippers came back, and then they pushed it to 15 again. Clippers ended up covering, so it went 2-1.
Spurs back in action tonight. More on that shortly. But now, let us get right into the action for tonight. Let's start things off with my trend of the day, and this one is to support the Cleveland Cavaliers, favored by 10 points in Milwaukee against the Bucks. Don't be scared of the big number, homie. This is an excellent spot for the Cavaliers. 7-1-1 against spread in their last 9 games following an outright loss. This team's been pretty selective regarding when they put their foot on the gas, and this looks like one of those spots. They're coming off just an awful loss to the Dallas Mavericks in a game where they were favored by 15 points. So some recent performances in games after a loss for them have seen them win by 33, 14, 15, 19. You get the point. So I fully expect them to bounce back and respond here against a division rival in the Bucks, who, if you have not been paying attention, Milwaukee has been one of the worst teams in the NBA. Over the last 10 games, 29th in net rating. Giannis has played in a handful of those games, of course, and Giannis is a game-time decision for this game. I'm comfortable with this number if he's on the court, because even when he has played, Milwaukee has not been good. 2-4 since Giannis returned from injury. The 2 wins against the Pacers and the Jazz. Congratulations on that. 3 of the 4 losses, they got absolutely curb stomped. Losses of 27, 18, and 15, all at home. Cleveland was off yesterday. They're off tomorrow. They got a couple teams breathing down their neck in the standings. We should expect a motivated, full effort performance for them. And the Bucks are a team that gets blown out a lot. Their average losses come by 15.6 points. That's one of the worst marks in the NBA. Give me the Cavs to cover as a 10-point favorite. Okay, off to John for 3. Let's start with the team he faded last night, Orlando Magic. They're a 9.5-point dog. Second game of a back-to-back. They got the Thunder in town, and you like the Magic to bounce back, at least from a spread perspective, and keep this one close.
Yeah, it feels like a nightmare on the surface, right? NBA champs, best team in the league, second night of a back-to-back. You just got blown out by the Hawks. I just feel like the 9.5 is too much. I feel like this should be closer to 7. The Magic, they are a very good home team. I think the key to me here is Jalen Suggs. Jalen Suggs is one of the absolute best point of attack defenders in the NBA. He's someone who can match up against Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. He can try to turn him into a less efficient night. You also look at how the Thunder play. They have a ton of size. The Magic also have a ton of size. The Thunder love to get in the paint, create shots for their shooters. The Magic don't really collapse like other teams do because they have that positional size. They will just kind of guard you one-on-one and not over-help, not over-rotate and leave shooters. So I think they have the matchup. I think they have the home court to keep it within 9.5. Not necessarily to win the game, but to keep it 9.5 here.
Okay, next up we have Heat. Hornets. The team's a week and a half removed from playing a pretty competitive game. Tyler Herro, you're targeting his assists. It's set at 4.5. I'm going to steal one of your talking points maybe. He did have 9 in that game against the Hornets a week and a half ago. You like him to go over again tonight?
Yeah, so a week and a half ago, we played Tyler Herro on the over 4 assists. I think it was 3.5 plus money. Tonight it's 4.5 plus money. But you also look at how this game sets up compared to that one. With that time, it was the second night of a back-to-back. No Norman Powell, who's a catch and shoot guy who can convert potential assists. Now they've been off for 2 days. You're off tomorrow. There's no reason for the Heat. Like, this is an important Southeast Division game. There's no reason for the Heat not to run up the starters minutes here. You have also, we look. This is kind of how he attacked them last time. He was going at Musa Diabate in the pick and roll coverage. He has the lob threats of Bam Adebayo, Khalil Ware. Bam Adebayo is questionable, but I feel like Khalil Ware is kind of the guy you really, really want because he's the main lob threat. So 4.5 plus money, like you said, he had 13 potential assists, 9 dimes. Even over his last 5 games, if we're not even talking about the Hornets matchup, he's averaging 9 potential assists. So he's creating a lot of offense here. Give me the over. I love this one again.
Okay, let's wrap things up with a guy who gets a lot of love on the show, De'Aaron Fox. His point totals at 19.5. Second game of a back-to-back for the Spurs, taking on the disgrace that is the Sacramento Kings. And once again, you're going to take him to go over his point total.
Yeah, and I think he agrees with you that they're a disgrace because he used to play for them and he forced
Yeah.
his way out. And that's kind of the angle here. And you can be like, oh, it's narrative based. There's no math
Mm.
behind it. The projections lean over. They lean over also with a sub 30-minute projection, which is huge because you're talking about a big spread, second night back to back. You might not play a lot of minutes. So I think I put him at 27 minutes and we still had a solid edge to the over here. That's not that many minutes for a starter. And then you look at the narrative side of it, it's more than just a narrative. In the 3 games he's played Sacramento, his usage has climbed by more than 7% based on what his average typically is. So he's attacking them. He gets these matchups against the Sacramento Kings. He wants to prove something. This one's in Sacramento, which I feel like also adds fuel to the fire there. 19.5. It is the second night of back-to-back, but it's kind of the same vibe. We talked about this last time we bet on him, or one of the times. It was like Wembanyama. He's the guy you want to reduce the minutes for on the second night of back-to-back, and you kind of push usage towards Fox. And if you're the coaching staff, you're probably like, let's let him go out there and just kill his former team. So give me Fox over 19.5 points. That is plus money too.
Who do you think's more dysfunctional, the Kings or the Wizards? I hate both of these teams. The Kings were fun a couple of years ago when they had that 7-game playoff series against the Warriors, but for some reason they decided to recreate the Chicago Bulls from a couple of years ago with DeRozan and Levine. Just an absolute joke, if you ask me. I don't even know why they have a franchise. The owner is a complete moron. Who do you think is more dysfunctional, the Kings or the Wizards?
I think you got to go with the Sacramento Kings. Like you said, they were a playoff team a couple years ago, and then they turned themselves into the Chicago Bulls, bringing in DeRozan, Levine.
Idiots.
I don't know what they were thinking. And then the Wizards have also, the Sacramento Kings have just drafted horribly. I mean, you can go back even further. They had De'Aaron Fox and Tyrese Halliburton in a backcourt at one point, even before they were a good playoff team. So then they trade Halliburton to the Indiana Pacers, and now they don't have a point guard. So you had Fox and Halliburton at one point, you don't have a point guard. I feel like the Wizards are kind of headed more in the right direction too as a franchise. They've had some good drafts here. Alex Sarr, I think, is going to be a really good player. So the Kings are just a disaster.
What was the story? They had like Vlade Divac was, in the front office and he didn't want to draft Luca because he didn't like
Yeah.
his dad or something like that.
Yeah, so yeah, they didn't draft Luka Doncic, and every time Luka Doncic goes to Sacramento, there was even a game where he was just like knocking down threes and staring at the front office the whole time. So I mean, Luka Doncic takes everything personal, but yeah, I mean, you can go through their drafts. It's like really bad. Like the guys they pass on and the guys they take, they're like complete busts. They've whiffed so many times.
Ugh, such an incredible disgrace. Okay, the covers.com 5-star projection of the day. This thing's still profitable. It's cooled off, though. It's got to get hot for us, hopefully starting here tonight. Tonight, the model loves Cam Johnson to go over his point total of 10.5. The model's projecting 12.7 against the Sixers. Speaking of pathetic, that team's in rough shape right now. So just taking a look at the game logs, pretty easy to make a case for this one. He's gone over this in 3 straight games. He had 18 last time out against the Lakers. What do you think of this projection tonight, John?
Yeah, it's interesting to see this one because I was just watching Nuggets Lakers on the weekend, and Cam Johnson, I was like, finally, he's playing with some aggression. He is shooting the ball. He's had such a weird season for them because when they flipped Michael Porter Jr. for Cam Johnson, you're like, wow, what an upgrade. Like Cam Johnson's an elite shooter in this league, and he just hasn't found his rhythm with this team. But like you said, I felt like when I was watching him against the Lakers there, it felt like he was finally starting to kind of fit into that roster, looking for his shots, hunting those shots, working off Jokic. So 10.5, Cam Johnson's definitely someone to keep an eye on because 10.5, he is not a 10.5 player if he plays like he did with the Nets and the Suns previously.
Okay, John, I want to get your thoughts on the Houston Rockets and Kevin Durant. I don't know about you. I thought this team was going to be a lot better, though. I would say that right now, at best, they're a second tier contender. They're having a lot of trouble against quality competition lately. We saw the Lakers come into Houston, beat them last night. Rockets only scored 12 points in the fourth quarter. Um, I kind of view this, it's shaping up to be another misstep in the career here of Kevin Durant. Everyone thought that they fleeced the Phoenix Suns. Everyone made fun of the Phoenix Suns when that trade happened in the offseason. They're only a couple games better than the Phoenix Suns here in the standings. And here's what I will say about Kevin Durant. I think he has mismanaged his career worse than any superstar in any sport. I think he should have stayed in OKC. We know what he did. He took the easy way out. He went to Golden State. He doesn't get a lot of credit for those championships. Then he hitched his wagon to Kyrie Irving. Absolute disaster. Then he says, I want out. Trade me to the Phoenix Suns. Absolute disaster. I want out again. He's here on the Houston Rockets. I wouldn't call this an absolute disaster, but I'd say it's been underwhelming so far. So what do you think of this situation? Kevin Durant, 37 years old now. I think he's running out of time.
It feels like another Kevin Durant scenario where there's just weird vibes with a really good roster or a really good team. I mean, they have flaws, but you feel like you expect more, and it just doesn't seem like they have any momentum. You're talking about the Phoenix Suns trade. Jalen Green, Devin Booker, and Dylan Brooks, those guys are playing pretty good. So they've made out really well in that trade. What's really stood out to me last night is, they lost Fred VanVleet before the season started. They obviously thought they were having him when they're going to have him when they built this roster. And you just kind of expected like Reed Shepherd and Ben Thompson to step up, be a point guard. We're now like, what, 65, 70 games into the season. And I just expected more development from those two to get ready for a postseason, knowing like they're going to have to be the point guard. And when they're playing the Lakers last night, Kevin Durant's bringing up the ball. He's like the primary point guard. They were blitzing him like crazy. And then he's dumping it off to guys who are like Dorian Finney-Smith, Tari Eason, and they can't create. They're basically waiting for Kevin Durant to break away from the double team to give it back to him, just for the Lakers to blitz him again, and you'd have to get rid of it. So you have all these 3-and-D wing defender guys, and nobody could really create off Kevin Durant, and he was very frustrating. Their offense absolutely stalled. I think you said they scored 12 points in the fourth quarter. He had one moment where he just went over and back. He was dribbling backwards, wasn't really paying attention, and post-game presser, he was like, maybe I just need to be a role player. Maybe I just need to be someone who stands in the corner, let other guys create. I mean, he did take the blame. He was saying, I'm the focal point of the offense, but he was like contemplating his life up there at the podium. That Houston Rockets team, there's so much talent, but it just hasn't come together this regular season.
Do you think Kevin Durant, before the time his career wraps up, he'll be 38 to start next season? Do you think he'll have one other team on his resume here by the time things are said and done, or do you think he finishes his career in Houston?
I think he finishes his career in Houston. It'd be pretty crazy to have one more move. I think the one more move is probably they trade Alperen Şengün and then they find someone else to pair with Durant, and whoever he wants that to be, that would kind of be the move. I don't think he switches the team. I think the team around him kind of switches. So it's really disappointing they didn't have Fred VanVleet this season. But yeah, don't think he can I don't think he can force to another team at this point in his career. I think he's stuck with Houston. I mean, it's a tax-free state too. I think that was kind of part of the reason why he went there too, for the money.
Yeah, maybe should have went to the Spurs. Okay, let's recap the picks for today. Just the one for me. I like the Cavs to cover as a 10-point favorite against the Bucks. John likes the Orlando Magic plus 9.5. Tyler Herro over 4.5 assists. De'Aaron Fox over 19.5 points in the Covers.com 5-star projection of the day. Cam Johnson over 10.5 points. Okay, that does it for today, guys. Thank you very much for tuning in. We're going to be right back with you again tomorrow. Enjoy the games. Best of luck with your bets. And may the luck of the Irish be with us tonight.